Well, here we are. I'm in Brussels, and well, this is a grand place, isn't it? Or Le Grand Place. I thought I'd start off here in the square, the Hotel de Ville and everything else of Brussels, and I'm going to do a little run through Belgium today. This trip's going to be a tale of two stations, and unusually, I think, for lots of commentators, I'm actually starting here. I'm going to go from Brussels Central, and then of course we can hop off at Antwerp. So come on, let's have a go. Let's make our way up to Rotterdam from Brussels and have a tale of two stations. So the reason I've picked Brussels Central as the departure point is because it's an icon of a modern 20th century Brussels. And as we walk up, those clean modern lines are clearly in evidence. From the typeface of the station name to so many details throughout the concourse, this really is a testament to mid-20th century design. The exterior reliefs remind people of the district of Puttery, which was demolished to make way for the redevelopment. And apart from the addition of ticket machines and some electronic displays, the main concourse appears as if frozen in time, and I'm loving the somewhat retro departures board and the stonework of the original ticket windows. Oh, and the brass inlaid floor tiles depict the emblems of both Brussels, Antwerp and Liège. The glazed roof provides downlighting for a neoclassical fresco on one wall, and a corridor to one side leads onto the metro platforms, but we've not time for that today. Just stepping outside, the southeast entrance is very understated. The wow factor is saved for when you walk back into the concourse to look down upon it. And the view from here, well, it looks just like an architect's drawing. Above the stairs down stands the Machinist, a tribute to all the railway workers who died in both world wars. He has a rifle over his shoulder and a spanner in his left hand. The mezzanine area provides all the retail outlets you might need, and at the end there's more natural light and the entrance to a Carrefour Express. It's here that the station feels most dated and less appealing. Its low ceiling means you can really feel this is not a place to be when there's heavy footfall at rush hour. Though walking through this part makes me feel like I could be in a movie where Soviet-era spies are passing microfilms inside rolled-up newspapers. You see, there was originally just Brussels Nord and Brussels Midi or South, but no station in the centre. So therefore, back in 1909, a law was passed to mandate direct connection under the city between the two. And it was Horta who completed his first design for a central station way back in 1912. So after the First World War, over 1,000 buildings were demolished to make way for the station. But the money ran out and the project stalled in 1927. It was restarted in 1935, but of course was hobbled again by the Second World War. Horta rejoined the project at the end of the war, but died in 1947, leaving Maxime Brunfaux and his team to complete design and build, with the line and the station opening in 1952. So, if Londoners think Crossrail took a long time, then spare a thought for the people of Brussels. Here's our train for Antwerp, and it is, I think, a push-pull rake of M6 double-deck coaches, with either a Class 13 or a Class 18 loco at the rear. And as we climb on board, the world turns pink. Well, that's a bit of a surprise for a train interior, but let's see how I feel about it a bit later on. Now, this first class is in a 2+2 configuration. Because Central Station is so busy, the dwell time is really short and we're away down the tunnel in no time. And here we are at Brussels Nord, so while we take a breath here, let's have a look at this first hop to Antwerp. As we've already seen, this regional train will make a quick stop at Brussels Nord, and then another stop at the junction station of Mechlin. It will then head on up to Antwerp, where it stops at both Antwerp and Antwerp Central. This first section of today's ride will be 46 kilometres or 29 miles long, and is due to take just 41 minutes. As we leave Brussels Nord, it isn't long before we pass the large city suburb station of Schaerbeek. Around Schaerbeek there are many railway yards, as this is a major junction point for trains north of Brussels. And it doesn't take long to pick up speed as we continue through the northern suburbs. The seat is very comfortable, although not quite up to usual first-class standards, but there is decent legroom with a footrest. The generous tray table comes with a Danish pastry, and underneath is a mini bin. Up top is a blind, a reading light, ample luggage space, and an incredibly inconvenient power supply. Just before we get to Mechlin, the railway crosses the Leuven-Dial Canal. Mechlin, or Malines in French, is built on the banks of the River Dial. It also looks like the station is partway through a rebuild. Do you think that curvy roof is going to extend over more of the lines? Do let me know in the comments. From these high-level tracks we can look down on the river below and on some other trains too. This pink compartment is actually very calming. You know, I really like it. Past the R1 motorway we also cross over the line coming in from Ghent in the west. And then we roll into Antwerp Belgium. We're not far from Antwerp Central now, and I'm getting quite excited to see this famous station. And here we are, and my train has arrived onto level -2, the new platforms that have been hollowed out below the original station. Blimey, that roof is a long way away up there. Right, I'm excited to get up top for a closer look, so let's go. So as you can see, levels -1 and -2 are underground galleries. Oh wow though, that old station. We need to climb these stairs. And just look at that, I need to keep climbing, don't I? The train shed is phenomenal, having been fully restored in 1986. And indeed it was in 1986 that the station was dug out and converted into a through station rather than a terminus. Mind you, through train operations did not commence until 2007. Well, all this belle epoque grandeur is quite a shock after the clean lines at Brussels Central. Now let's step out to the concourse beyond the platforms. Wow, honestly, if you've seen photographs or as you're watching this video, trust me, it is not the same as experiencing this grandeur in reality. You know, this really is a palace to travel. You can't ignore it. It is astounding. I'm not sure where to point the camera next. Time to get a breath of air outside. And in the square the station is equally imposing. And right next door is the zoo, which actually looks like a good place to sit down and take a breath.
So, sat in the sun just by the zoological gardens and just over there
Unbelievable Antwerp Central. Absolutely cracking station. Takes anyone's breath away, I think. That was a decent ride in from Brussels, and now here we are at Antwerp. So I've now got a train in 15 minutes to take me on to Rotterdam. So let's ride that and go off to Rotterdam. So let's leave the calm of the zoo grounds and walk across this north entrance and try entering from the western side. And even this side door is really grand. Oh well, time to have my senses assaulted one more time by this station. I've no need to climb these stairs as my train will be leaving from level -2. But you know, I just want to experience the thrill again and the view from up here. Right, I've messed around enough and I'm gonna miss the train if I don't hurry. Today the trains are a bit messed up because of ongoing industrial action, but I do want to try this new EuroCity service, so let's go down and see if we can find it. Gosh, no time to look for the locomotives, the train departs in just 3 minutes. Oh good, here's the first class coach. So whilst I hurriedly take a seat, let's have a look at part 2 of today's trip. We'll leave Antwerp Central northbound on the high-speed line through Noorderkempen before we run into the Netherlands and our first Dutch station stop at Breda. At Breda the train reverses, although with a loco at each end that should be fairly quick. After that it's a sprint on to Rotterdam. The run is 104 kilometres or 65 miles long and takes just over an hour. The average speed could be improved as we're on the high-speed line, but the schedule is currently limited to 160 km per hour, which ensures the path can be maintained whichever stock they use. The port of Antwerp is fed by a number of rivers and canals, which enables transshipment deep into Europe's waterway system. Just beyond the canal, the line turns a sharp right and we are on the HSL4, High Speed Line 4, which will take us to the Dutch border. The maximum line speed along here is 300 km per hour, so our train will have no problem sticking to its 160 timetabled speed. The armchair seats of the I-11 stock look dated, but they are really comfortable and this is a very smooth ride. Noorderkempen station opened in 2009 along with the coming of HSL4. I'm not sure why Noorderkempen station isn't just called Brecht, as it's built on the edge of Brecht. I suppose it's because its function is to be a park and ride for a much larger area than just the town. Then after Noorderkempen, it's a race for the border. I'm really enjoying this quick and yet relaxing ride through these very last little bits of Belgium before we cross into the Netherlands. Once into the Netherlands, the motorway that was tracking our train on the other side of the line has now crossed onto this side. Just before Breda, I spy an amazing public watchtower called the Lightning Bolt. That must be a great spot to watch the trains from, almost as if you were a drone. Then we turn off the high-speed line, which, now we are in the Netherlands, is called HSL Zuid. And here's a Dutch double-decker in their distinctive blue and yellow livery. And so we arrive at Breda at 12:18, and there's just 8 minutes allocated for the train to reverse. So while they do that, let's have a look at these classic I-11 seats. Well, it always feels like this plate here is covering an old ashtray. Anyway, under the table is a mini bin and above is the reading light and ample luggage space. But as you can see, I may as well just put my bag here on this seat. And we're away after what was a 10-minute turnaround, and we're heading back towards the HSL Zuid. We stay on the classic line through Prinsenbeek and over the River Mark, before a flying junction gives us access to the HSL and our driver can speed us up. We get a fantastic view of the Meerdijk Bridge over the Hollands Diep. But then we'll go under the next body of water as the high-speed line will be avoiding Dordrecht. And all the while we're on the high-speed line, we stick to our 160 kilometers per hour, which is about 100 miles per hour. And then we dive down again to pass under the old Meers. Now I was on an Interrail pass, but if you buy a ticket about a week in advance, this journey from Brussels to Rotterdam could cost you as little as €13.20 in second class and €26.50 in first. Which isn't a bad price, is it? And that's about it for the HSL Zuid, as we're now rejoining the classic lines for the run into Rotterdam. And we get a glimpse of Feyenoord Stadium before we rush through Rotterdam South before beginning the final approach to Rotterdam Centraal.
Rotterdam Central fire destination on this way.
That was a very pleasant little trip, and I really enjoyed seeing both Brussels Central and also Antwerp Central. Quite an illustration of how station design changed radically over the first 50 years of the 20th century. And the EuroCity, it's a great service. I just wish it could speed up to the 200 kilometers per hour that this I-11 stock is capable of. At one end here is an Alstom Bombardier 186 Trax loco, and there's a sister 186 at the other end. I suppose these may be the reason the train is limited to 160. So there we are, made it to Rotterdam Centraal. Very comfortable in the Belgian train going up the high-speed line. Even though we're doing just 100 miles an hour, you know, those lines are much smoother, aren't they, than the original ones. So yeah, here I am at Rotterdam. So what I'm going to be trying to do is see if I can pick up one of the intercity directs that are running through here and then on to Lelystad. And so that might be another video that might come as a little bonus, but I'm not sure yet, so we'll have to see. Anyway, in the meantime, here I am at Rotterdam Centraal, so I'm going to get some lunch and then move on deeper into the Netherlands. So I hope you enjoyed that little trip that was really a tale of two stations built about 50 years apart, and it really does show the difference in style that happened over that period of the first half of the 20th century. So I hope you found that interesting. Anyway, our train that we just came in on from Antwerp is about to go back down into Belgium, so we'll wave that goodbye. And as we wait for that, just like to say thank you so much for watching, and thank you for all your kind comments, and I look forward to seeing you in the next one. Oh, and if you want to see things early, then do consider being a member of the channel. And I know that a few of you have, and thank you all so much for taking that extra step, and I hope you're enjoying being channel members and getting the extra bonuses and of course the early release of videos like this. And I'll see you next time, but for now, goodbye from Rotterdam Centraal. As Johnny says, thanks so much for watching, and you can catch up with my onward trip on the EuroCity Direct just here when it becomes available.